first off, thank you so much for agreeing to sit down with me today. I appreciate it.
Well, it's my pleasure. I've done a lot of these things during the course of my baseball career, so I'm very happy to do this with you.
Well, very special guest today, Mr. Piniella. You've had an incredible baseball career, spending a big chunk of your life in the MLB. I have to say, where did this love of baseball originate?
Well, I grew up here in Tampa, and baseball was the #1 sport in Tampa during my growing up years. And my hero was Ted Williams, that played for the Boston Red Sox. And I started playing baseball around 8 years old and liked it. So I played in the playground leagues in Tampa. Then I played Pony League. Then I played American Legion, high school, 1 year of college, and then I signed a professional contract in 1962 with the Cleveland Indians.
Was there a moment in your life that you realized, I'm pretty good at baseball. I think I could do this for a career?
You know, the amazing thing, you're always a little better than what you think you are. What happens in pro ball, you might be the best in your town or in the kids you play with, but all of a sudden you're playing with the best of the best all over the country. And really the odds are against you getting to the big leagues. 2 out of every 100 kids that sign a pro contract get to the big leagues. And I signed in 62, and it took me to 1969 to get to the big leagues. So it took me 7 years of riding buses and playing in the minor leagues. And that's why these kids today have gravitated more to the NBA or the NFL, because they go right from college to the major leagues in their respective sports. Baseball, you got to go to the minor leagues and learn your trade. First of all, because in college and high school they use aluminum bats, and now they use the wood bats in pro ball, so it takes a while to adjust. And also, it used to take, when I signed, about 2,000 at bats at the minor league level. It took me 3,200. So I thought at times, am I ever going to get there? In fact, 1969, I was contemplating, if I didn't make the big leagues then, I would go do something else for a living, because you don't make any money in the minors. I think the most money I made in the minor leagues was $10,000. And when you're married and you're expecting children, it's not too much. But anyway, I was fortunate. Kansas City Royals gave me a chance, and I was Rookie of the Year after all that work in the minor leagues. So, and then I spent 18 years as a player in the majors. I played till I was 43. So I got it at the tail end instead of the beginning. And then I coached for 1 year and then started managing the big leagues for the Yankees. So, and I managed for 23 years in the big league. So my career was 40-some years, long enough.
How did the relationship with George Steinbrenner change when he went from playing for him to managing his team?
A lot. Yeah, as a player, he was great to play for. He really was. He spent the money to have, so you could have a good team. That didn't change when I managed, but he got much more demanding. George was a perfectionist, and truthfully, I was too. So we butted ahead at times, but he gave me an opportunity that probably no other owner would have given me. I never managed one day in the minor leagues or one day in winter ball. I went right from playing to coaching for 1 year to managing in the big leagues. That doesn't happen very often.
But was there a big culture shift?
I thought I was prepared to manage, but what I didn't anticipate was I was managing a lot of the players that I played with. So my relations naturally had to change. I still got along with them, but I couldn't be around them all the time. But you know, I had good teams in New York. We won 90 games a couple years. We never made it to the playoffs. And George was very impatient at that time. He was going through managers very, very quickly and very often. And finally, after the second time there, I decided no more of this is not going to work. So I went to Cincinnati and said, I'll never come back as long as George, this is not going to work. But it was stupid on my behalf because I think I would have won again if I had gone back to the Yankees.
What was it like facing the Yankees again, now with different teams?
Yeah, wanted to beat them in the worst way. Really did. Always very competitive. My job was to win baseball games, not to make friends. And when I played the Yankees, I put extra emphasis on the winning part of it. Early in my career, we beat them in in the 90s with the Mariners. But then later on, the Yankees got too good that we couldn't beat them anymore. They beat us in the playoffs, and it was hard on me because I would have loved to beat the Yankees a little more. But I wear my Yankees championship ring with a lot of pride. I'm basically a Yankee at heart, but when I competed against them, I wanted to beat them, and naturally so.
And when you were with the Mariners playing the Yankees in the ALCS, you had 116 wins under your belt with the team. What was the secret to that success?
Well, I had a good general manager, Pat Gillick, Hall of Famer, and he put together a good team for me. But I had talented players, and we were an experienced team that had played together for a few years. So we got in a roll and started believing in each other and won 116 games, which is all-time major league record. And then the Yankees beat us in postseason. Very disappointing, but it happens.
What was the speech you were telling your team before facing the Yankees?
This is not Gotham City, it's New York City. Batman and the rest of the people aren't here. We can beat them. Believe in yourselves. We got extended in the first round of the playoffs by a very good Cleveland team, Indians, 5 games. And I had to use my best 2 pitchers to win that series. And when we started the Yankee series, I was starting with my 3rd and 4th starters. And they couldn't compete with Roger Clemens, Andy Pettit, El Duque, David Wells. These guys are all great pitchers. You know, in postseason, you need 3 or 4 pitchers that can be 1 or 2 starters. And we were a little short in that department. During the season, you can get by with it, but in playoffs, very hard. You got to throw with velocity, and you got to be able to beat the good teams. And the Yankees had great hitters.
Now, looking back at the Reds' 1990 World Series win, you were very new to the team, and I'm curious how you were able to flip the team around so quickly?
Well, first of all, I give credit to Pete Rose. Basically, it was a team he put together. We added some sprinkles to it, and added Randy Myers. Became one of the three nasty boys, and we had Billy Hatcher, leadoff hitter, and Hal Morris, the first baseman from the Yankee system. And it worked out quite well. We started well, won 10 in a row to start the season. And we were in first place wire to wire. It hasn't been done since then. And then we beat Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh in postseason was a very good team managed by Jimmy Leland. And then we played the Oakland team, highly favored, with Tony La Russa as the manager, and we swept them. So it was a great year for us, and Marge Schott was the only woman owner in professional baseball to win the championship. God bless her soul.
Speaking of that Oakland team, you guys came in as the underdogs.
Oh, yeah.
I'm curious, which would you prefer? Coming in as an underdogs or coming in as the favorite?
Well, no, I'd rather come in as a favorite. I'd rather have the best team coming in and make the other team beat me. But, you know, we had a game plan that if we threw velocity at them, they have big guys that can hit the ball out of the ballpark, but you at the end of the season when you have good velocity, you can overcome that, and that's exactly what we did. Jose Rijo, number one starter, had a great postseason for us, and he won 2 games, and our guys really hit the ball off their pitchers. They were a fastball pitching team also, and our team hit it fastball good. I felt really good, truthfully, going into the postseason because our plan was solid, and I knew we would be able to score runs off of them, and I thought that kids that I had, like Jack Armstrong and Scott Scudder, could pitch in relief and hold the game in check, and that's exactly what happened.
Do you think the players today could handle the clubhouse culture of the 70s and 80s?
I don't think so. They're pampered a lot more now. Heck, like when we had Old Timers Day in New York when I played, the old timers, they roomed with the locker. You could talk to them. Mm-hmm. You can share conversations. Now you go in a different room, and going into the clubhouse, actually you can sleep there. It's so nice. And then they have personal trainers. We had one trainer, and they got masseuse. They got barbers in the clubhouse, and they have 2 chefs that feed them. So I don't think so. I don't think they're as tough as we were. They don't have to be. They make a ton of money.
I mean, you mentioned the barbers in the clubhouse. Earlier this year, the Yankees did away with the facial hair regulations. Right. Curious as to your thoughts on that.
Well, I don't think it makes much difference whether you have facial hair or not, as long as it's not sloppy. But if it's nice and trimmed, there's nothing wrong with it. In fact, that's how I first met George Steinbrenner. I went to camp, and I got traded from Kansas City to New York in 1973. So I showed up at Fort Lauderdale for a day or 2 before to get the kinks out a little bit. I was a little nervous going from a small market team to the Yankees. So I showed up in a clubhouse, and my uniform wasn't in my locker. So I asked the attendant, "Where's my uniform?" He said, "Well, Steinbrenner saw you walk in the parking lot, and he said he wants to see you." So I walked out to his office, knocked on the door, introduced myself as a player that he had traded for, and told him how happy I was to be there. But I told him I have no uniform. He looked at me and said, "Your hair's too long. You got to get a haircut." I said, "George," I don't see the difference between hair being a little too long and being able to play. In fact, I told him our Lord Jesus Christ was the greatest person that walked the face of the earth. And every picture of him I saw, he had long hair. He said, "Come here, come with me." He took me by the hand, led me across the street to the Fort Lauderdale swimming pool, pointed to the water. He said, "If you walk across that water, you can wear your hair to what you want." So I got a haircut naturally, but I don't, there's nothing wrong with your hair being long, but it be real sloppy. I don't like it at all.
More on that dynamic with George Steinbrenner. When you did become the manager of his team, what did he tell you were your main obligations?
Well, he said three things. Your number one job is to win me a world championship. Number two, remember baseball is a business. Because when you get kicked out of a game, put an act on with the umpires a little bit. I listened to him. And he said, I want the back page of the Daily News and the New York Post. And number three, it's a sport. So you're talking about it being a sport, a business, and entertainment. And that's what he told me. But he said your number one job was to win it. But he said, have fun with the umpires, don't get kicked out of the games.
Do you have an ejection that you particularly enjoy?
Oh, if you walk into a bar and you ask, what manager in the big leagues got kicked out the most? My name invariably would come out number one. But truthfully, there are a lot of managers that got kicked out of more games than I did. I got kicked out of 63 games in 43 years of big league balls. That's only 1.5 a year. But I did. I kicked some dirt. I threw a baseless once or twice. And I had fun. Just the other day, I was in Avila playing golf. And I played with Cowboy Joe West and Angel Hernandez, major league umpires. And they loved playing with me. I used to have fun with them. We didn't carry it over the next day. And these guys enjoyed kicking you out of the games at times, believe me. Now, the game is a little boring when they throw a little red handkerchief out there and somebody in New York is deciding whether you're out or safe. Although it would have saved me a lot of ejections and probably a lot of money. Although, truthfully, I got smart. I used to have the clubs pay my fines when I get kicked out of the game.
Planning out the business early on, right?
Yeah, and my fines always started at 1,000 or 1,500. Somebody else 200 or 300. So they were trying to calm me down a little bit.
Arguing with umpires, it's a tale as old as time right now, but there's been some talk about ball strike challenges. It's working its way up through the minor leagues. What are your thoughts on?
Look, baseball is not a perfect game. Managers aren't perfect, coaches aren't perfect, players aren't perfect, umpires aren't perfect. Umpire making a bad call is not going to cost you or to win that many ball games. Keep it human. Umpires try the best they can. They do a good job, but they're going to make mistakes just like everybody else. And I'd rather have it that way. And I like the fans. If you talk to the fans, they like to see a Billy Martin or Earl Weaver or Bobby Cox or whomever go out there and argue with the umpires.
And we talk about all the new rule changes. We have a lot of new pace of play rules that came into it.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. That's one of the things with baseball that makes it hard for kids to play. There's too much time between action for these kids. And that's why they gravitate towards the soccer, football, and basketball. Baseball's a hard game to play. You gotta be able to catch it. You gotta be able to throw it. You gotta be able to hit it. You gotta have good eyes. You have physical ability. So that's why the kids don't play as much as they used to. But I think it's still a great game. I like to see our American black kids play more baseball. When I played in the big leagues, 45 or 46% of the players in the majors were American black kids. Now, 6 or 8. Too little. These kids are very talented. It would enhance the sport.
I'd love to talk a little bit about the rivalries that we know and love in sports, particularly when it comes to, the anniversary is coming up in May. May 20th, you and Carlton Fisk had one of the
Right.
most iconic brawls in all of baseball.
Oh boy, yeah. I wanted to run into Fisk. I did. We didn't like the Red Sox. They didn't like us. And when the ball was hit the right field, I didn't get as good a jump as I should have. And I knew I was going to be at home plate, so I didn't slide. At the same time, Carlton Fisk had the ball in his hand. He stuck it right in my eye. So then we started throwing a few punches, but really the rest of the teams, we got the best of that brawl. But I've gotten to know a lot of the Red Sox players. Freddie Lynn, Carlton Fisk, Jim Rice, a lot of them. They're nice kids. Just when you're playing, they got the wrong uniform on.
So that intensity between you and Fisk,
Oh yeah.
did it shift into respect as
No,
time
not
went on?
at all. In fact, I played in this charity golf tournament quite a few times. And I enjoyed being around them, enjoying talking to them.
You'd also played under Billy Martin for quite a while. Were there any aspects of his managing style that you shifted
Well, he
into?
was my mentor. There's no question about it. And he liked to argue with umpires at times too. But, there was never any carryover. The argument was done. The next day, everything back to par. But I learned a lot from Billy. I thought he was an excellent manager. I thought he ran a real good clubhouse. I thought he managed a real good game. The only thing, he can control the alcohol, which was his downfall. At that time, alcohol was the travel, the plane every night. A lot of players drank.
You mentioned managing the clubhouse. You managed, 8 or 9 Hall of Fame players. What
Yes.
was it like just controlling the big personalities on the team?
Well, one thing you learn, you better get along with your best players. If you don't get along with your best players, you're not going to be managing very good. And thank God that kids that were my best players that didn't make the Hall of Fame were good people. Ken Griffey Jr., Edgar Martinez, the kid that's going to Hall of Fame this year, Ichiro, Dave Winfield, Ricky Henderson, Randy Johnson. I had good kids, so I didn't have any problems. If you went out there and played hard for me and left everything on the field, you never had a problem with me. Now, if you didn't hustle and you didn't do your job, then we might have a few words. But listen, my job as a manager was to win, and that's all I wanted to do.
What sort of advantage did having played in the major leagues for a while before going to manage give you versus people who just go straight into the managing role?
Well, you know what it's about. You know what it takes to win. You know what type of players you need to win. The one thing about managing in the big leagues, unlike probably pro football, is that in baseball, the general manager puts the team together, and they make the trades. They might listen to the manager a little bit, but not all that much. And if you have good general managers, then you can do really well. If you have general managers that don't put the team on, I was fortunate. Just about everywhere I was, I had general managers that I got along with, and everywhere that I went, not one general manager ever got fired while I was there, which I'm proud of.
Is there a player today that particularly reminds you of your playing style?
Paul O'Neill with the Yankees. He's not playing now, he's broadcasting. But Paul was a lot like me, and you know, he kicked the coolers and threw the water helmets. I mean, the batting helmets. A good kid with a lot of have more talent than me, but yeah, Paul O'Neill probably reminded me of myself more than anybody else.
Now, if there was a moment you could go back to, either while you were playing or while you were managing, and relive it, good or bad, what comes to mind?
The World Series. You know, no, really, truthfully, the 1978 playoff game with the Boston Red Sox. What a game that was. We won 5-4, and we were the two best teams in the majors. And from there, we went on and beat the Dodgers for our two repeat world champions. But I really enjoyed playing in Fenway, and really enjoyed the fans and the ballpark and the rivalry with the Boston Red Sox.
Before I let you go, do you have any message to the people out there who may not have an appreciation for baseball or may not get into the sport?
It's a great game to play. It takes imagination. You gotta be smart. You know, when you manage a baseball game, you gotta be 3 or 4 innings ahead of the game, anticipating. And my job as a major league manager was to keep the percentages on my team sides as much as possible. Make the other team react to me instead of me reacting to them. But it's a great game. I like to see more our American black kids playing the sport. I've said that many times. It will make the game better. But there's nothing better than playing a nice afternoon or evening in the summer, especially up north where it's a little cooler, and go to a Major League Baseball game with your family.
Well, Lou, thank you so much for sitting down and chatting with me today. I appreciate
Thank you.
your time.
You've been great. Thank you very much.